Welcome back to the Speed Channel Test Drive. In just a minute, we'll be talking with car and drivers Barry Winfield. But before we hear from a guy who reviews cars, let's talk to the people who make them. Mercury brand manager Elena Ford at World Headquarters for Lincoln and Mercury.
Well, Mercury is a very important part of the Ford family heritage, and Edsel Ford, my great-grandfather, started to bridge the gap between Ford and Lincoln. What was happening was a lot of our customers that were coming out of Ford products couldn't afford to go into Lincoln products, and therefore they were going to our competition. Today, Mercury continues to fill that space between Ford and Lincoln, and we continue to bring out new products that will sustain the long and healthy brand of Mercury. Marauder was originally established in 1963 as an engine package, a performance engine package with 300 and 400 horsepower engines. So the 40th anniversary is about the name. Then in 1969, we actually took the name and put it onto a vehicle. And Mercury at the time was all about comfort and convenience and functionality. And what Marauder brought to the table was V8 power, dual exhaust, rear-wheel drive, interior floor-mounted shifter, all with room for 5 people. And that's key to us today, is bringing back this performance and this functionality with power and substance. What we like to think of it as a modern twist on a classic. We took the vehicle to SEMA show in 1998, and the reaction from the consumers and from the public was incredible. And we came back and we did some research, and the research came back very positive, and we decided to put the car into development. As you can see, this is what we've got. We've got the 2003 Marauder.
Mercury is looking to rekindle its performance car spirit with this car. Let's see how it looks to a professional critic. Car and drivers Barry Winfield, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
As they say, talk is cheap, so let's get right to business. Now, some American cars, to get them to handle, they just button them down and they're pretty harsh. What are your thoughts on this?
I think this is a really nice compromise. They put some quality pieces in here. They've beefed up the structure quite well. They put in additional cross members in the frame that really have had the desired effect. Really seems to have tied the thing together very well. Now, when you think about it, all big cars should be like this. There's really no reason for them to be sort of squashy and boring. It's a remarkably poised big car.
Is there anything that stands out performance-wise?
It doesn't particularly like standing start acceleration test. In fact, my magazine tested it and it ran 7.5 seconds, which is not exactly outstanding. But once you're actually moving and underway, you can get the car to go very quickly, especially if you've got an interesting road to drive it on.
Speaking of interesting roads, we're heading into Turn 9 at Willow Springs, which is, I feel, one of the more difficult corners in all of motorsports.
Yeah, definitely. If you get that wrong, you go farming, as they say. The brakes seem to be pretty good, too. 11-inch discs in the front and 10-inch discs in the back. It seems to be more than adequate.
You know, 4,000-pound car coming from 110 miles an hour in Turn 1 really hauls it down, huh?
Yeah, it sure does. The pedal feel is pretty good, too. A lot of domestic companies have had problems with squishy pedal feel, but this one actually is quite positive.
How does it stack up against its segment competition right now?
Well, there isn't really much in the segment. I can't really think of a vehicle that's directly comparable to this because you've got a full-size traditional sedan here. And at the price, I mean, there's very little else that's out there. If you go looking for a 4-cam V8 in a high-end Japanese or German vehicle, you're looking at seriously big money, especially in comparison to this, which is, I mean, this thing isn't even $35,000. And on top of that, it comes with pretty much all of those luxury items that you get in vehicles for a lot more money.
How about the interior? Seats, steering position, controls?
It's got the classic sort of big car layout, but they've They've got this very subtle dot matrix trim in here. If you like black on black, I mean, this car is going to be a complete delight because, you know, the package is coal outside and it's got this black nudo leather on the inside, and altogether it's a very restrained package.
Now this long right-hand sweeper exposes a little bit of a weakness. I think they've done such a good job with the chassis, they've still got kind of the old big car seats.
But on the other hand, if you look at what the typical role of this vehicle is likely to be, it's certainly not going to be thrashing around Willow Springs Raceway. However, if they want to do the job properly and go all the way for the enthusiast, that's the next thing they could tackle. This is a worthy effort. I mean, it is a pretty remarkable car to see coming out of the Mercury division. You know, having a sharply honed full-size car is a really pleasant experience.
Well, the smile on Pernelli's face was pretty telling. When he got out of the car, he was really just kind of on cloud nine. He said, "You have got to take that car out."
Yeah, and it's a sophisticated vehicle. It turns out to be a very polished piece.
Race car drivers are notoriously bad passengers.
I know.
So I've been reaching for the brake pedal over here, so I'm going to say let's head for the pit lane.
All right. I thought you'd been quite brave, actually, most of the time.
Stay tuned. We're about to hit cruising speed as we take the Marauder on a tour of Hollywood Boulevard and a trip down memory lane when the Speed Channel test drive continues.